And then I had one really good encounter with Sylvester Stallone where he was like, "You gotta make your own career, kid. You know, you only gonna get so many auditions. You know, you gotta do it yourself." Bada bing, bada boom. Punk Drunk Love's the name of the movie, right? Yeah. I was like, I hope I said it right. What's going on, you guys? I'm David Henrie from Wizards of Waverly Place, and this is Unscripted with CBR. It was pretty crazy stepping back into Waverly Place after all these years. I remember the first time I walked into our layer set. It's crazy. It's like, have you ever walked back into your old high school or your old grade school and like nothing has changed? You've gone back into a classroom that you haven't been in a long time. Maybe even seen an old item from your bedroom that you grew up with as a kid, or an old book that meant something to you. You're just hit with like this feeling, and stuff is firing off in your brain. You don't even know what you're trying to chase, all the feelings. And that's how I felt when I walked into the layer again. It was all good. It's good feelings, good eruption of nostalgia. But it was crazy. You know, it's funny. I walked into the school set that we built for our new middle school, and I just like, almost like a trained dog, I started looking for my locker. Like I walked in, and I was like, "Oh, locker, which one's mine?" And I was like, "Wait, you're an old dude. You're the dad on the show now. You're the principal. You have an office." And that was like a big moment for me where I was like, "Oh," close the locker, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm done with this chapter in my life and on to being the dad." You know, it was a big question for me going into this. Like, I was watching old episodes. I was like, I forgot about my character. You know, I forgot how to act like my character. Because, you know, I finished the show when I was 21. I'm 35 now. When we were redoing the show, I'm 36 now. But when we started, I was 35. I was like, how do I do this? Do I have to like watch my old self and like imitate my old self? Like, what am I doing? And then I was like, just be yourself. Just trust your natural instincts. There was some rust, but it came off very quickly in rehearsals. And it was like riding a bike, honestly. It was just like riding a bike. I don't know, I'd imagine it's like growing up a soccer player and you haven't played in a long time and suddenly someone kicks you a ball. You still know the basics, you still get it. So I got back on, and now it's different though, because I am a father in real life. So I'm able to bring dad voice to the table, which I didn't have then. And there's a look in my eye and an emotion that I feel looking at the kids now, because I know how I look at my own kids, that I wouldn't have. So I think a natural course of maturing took place, and yeah, it's a good feeling. Yeah, I think without a doubt the hardest part of acting is the rejection, the grind. You are going on 3, 4, 5 auditions a week. You're getting called back for a lot of them. You know, I'd get called back for the majority of them. I'd make it to the next room. And then you get close on a handful of them, and then you don't get them. You know, it's tough. It's tough. You get your hopes up. You get excited. You negotiate contracts. It's really hard dealing with that rejection and wondering why. Now, I know as a producer now, I've gone behind the camera and I've hired actors. I wish I would just tell myself, you're not that important. You don't do your thing, but then there's so many other factors that come into play that have nothing to do with your talent, nothing at all. And that's what dictates the role. It's like half the time I've cast something for people that I've hired on jobs, and I've done a bunch of movies and shows now that I've produced. It really has nothing to do with your talent. Once you get to that final room, or once you get your call back, everyone is on the same talent level. Everyone is very talented. They all deserve the role in a sense, but one person is right. One person is just right for it. It's almost like all the things that I've cast, in fact, there isn't any other choice than the person we cast. It's like, you're just right for the role. And that, there are tangible reasons, there's look, there's chemistry with other characters, but a lot of the times it's just an intangible. It's like, you're just right for the role. It's just a feeling. It's almost unanimous with other producers that I've worked with too. Everyone's just like, yeah, they're it. Like, they're the thing. And I've had other actors come in and just crush it. Like performances that I'm just like, that's even on its own, maybe even a better performance than the person that I hired. But they're just not right for the role. So that's like, that idea is such a stress reliever for me now as an actor. And I wish I would have known that as a younger person, that like, don't put so much pressure on yourself. You know, you're not that important in a very healthy sense. Don't put yourself up this high, like I have to be this. It's like, just be yourself, do your thing. And the rest is out of your hands, and that's that. You know, it's a both and. I was always the kind of actor that was curious as to how the set worked. I wanted to know how the sausage was made. I asked questions, why this lens? Why is the camera there? What's that equipment it's on? Why are you lighting me like this? So I asked questions, and I'd hang out with, people on the crew, get to know them. So I always had that curiosity, and I always knew I wanted to recreate the feeling of impact that I had as a kid sitting in a movie theater when I had a formational experience with a movie, right? So I always knew I wanted to be involved in making that feeling. And once I got on set, I started seeing, oh, it's the directors and writers, and they're the people that are really creating this feeling. I want to be involved in that. And, I'm Italian, like my grandfather immigrated here, and he always taught me, like, be an entrepreneur, be a hustler, forge your own path. And like my grandfather did when he came here. He had no education, he served in the military, and then started his own business and became a successful man, but because he did it all himself with his brother. So to me, I always had that spirit, that kind of entrepreneurial spirit. And then I had one really good encounter with Sylvester Stallone where he was like, you gotta make your own career, kid. You only get so many auditions. You gotta do it yourself. And it was actually like a moment. And those types of things are why I can't sit still and I can't just act.
When did that encounter with Sly happen?
The Sly encounter was on set of Wizards. He brought his kids to visit, and I was so excited to meet him because obviously Rocky, especially as an Italian, like this was a huge moment for me. And I was hanging out with him. We were walking around set with his kids, and he goes, "Yeah, nice to meet you." And he goes, "My kids, they haven't seen Rocky. They don't know who I am. They know you." And I was like, "I know you. Like you're the man." And he told me some really motivational stories about like how he discovered the brand Panerai on set and like a ship, and it was in like a chest, and he found this watch, and he was so entrepreneurial. He said, "I'm gonna figure this out." He got it to his friends at Cartier, helped blow up this brand. Now Panerai is like a massive brand, right? But he was just telling me stories about having an entrepreneurial spirit, zeal, and betting on yourself and not letting other people dictate your future. And that was an awesome, great encounter. I did a movie right after Wizards called Little Boy. And it was just some really respected, talented, Oscar-nominated actors. And I went to dinner with Emily Watson, who I had just seen. She played my mom in the movie. And I had just watched her Paul Thomas Anderson movie that she did with Adam Sandler called Punch Drunk Love. And I really admired her. And she gave me a very nice compliment at dinner about my acting. It was the first time I'd done a very dramatic role. And she was very complimentary of me, and she's like an Oscar-nominated actress, so that was a huge deal to me, and that meant a lot. It's a great question, and it's a question that's really confused me a lot and a lot of actors over the years, because I've taken so many different classes and studied so many different techniques. Stanislavski, Meisner, Stella Adler. There are so many different schools of thought with acting, right? And I think the best method for me is just to forget all of that and do what works. And what works for me is just playing make-believe. Literally just pretending I'm a little kid. And I play with my son, I'm the dragon and he's the knight. And I use just as much acting effort with my son as I do on Wizards. Obviously I have lines on Wizards, I have to memorize things and put in a lot more work. But it's the same thing. It's the exact same thing. And that works best for me. I've seen different techniques out there. I've worked with a lot of different actors that follow different methods, and I've seen it all. And I think you got to do what works for you. And what works for me is just playing make-believe and pretending I'm a little kid, whether that's comedy or that's drama. As I've gotten older, that question has continually become more important to me. Legacy, right? What do you want to leave behind? You're not going to leave your treasure behind, but your reputation will stay. So for me, I hope that I will be known as someone who tried to do good with what he was given, who tried to use his resources to make the world a better place in content, to bring truth, beauty, and goodness to everything that I do. That's my goal with my family, first and foremost, and then with what I do in the entertainment space, and I look at Wizards as that. It's almost like a vocational thing for me. I feel like we get to make beautiful family stories and we get to make kids laugh. And that to me, and we put some really rich philosophy in there as well that can even speak to parents. So to me, I hope I will just be known for someone who used this platform to entertain and elevate, and hopefully make a difference in some kids' lives. When this series ends, I hope people will take away the timeless message of family unity and foundation. In this show, we repackaged this show in a different way. In the beginning, you had family that was all blood and it was chaotic and crazy, but family always had each other's backs. The Russos always had each other's backs. This show, we challenged that by bringing in someone who doesn't have a family. And so we have this wonderful new engine of this character that doesn't believe in the stability of family because she's never felt that before because she's been hurt a lot. So now we have this wonderful engine to butt up against and retell new stories about family and reteach this character about family, and that will be there for you. And yes, it's messy and chaotic and crazy and we make mistakes, but no matter what, there's an unconditional, relentless love that drives family, and that families that care. And I hope, you know, in the original show, fans would come up to me and they'd say, you know, I don't have a great family, but your show makes me want to have a family. It makes me hope that I can create a family that has the love that I see in your show. That's everything to me. That's everything to me. And I hope we'll have that same effect just in a new way with this new show.